everyone, it's Shell from Scrap Secrets and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is part of a hop and I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through the video. Here are the two cards that we're going to make and we're going to start with the card on the left hand side. I took a piece of white cardstock that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, which is an A2 size panel. I'm using some Distress Oxide in Squeezed Lemonade and my rabbit hole blending brush to apply it to the white cardstock. This brush is very easy to use and I think applies the ink very well. So once I'm happy with that base layer, I'm actually going to take out another color of Distress Oxide in Fossilized Amber and go around the edges. And once I've darkened up the edges a little bit, then I'm going to go back in with my blending brush with the Squeezed Lemonade on it and blend them out a little bit, because as you can see right where my hand was, that area got a little bit darker. Once I'm happy with that, I'm going to take my We Are Memory Keepers Sunburst embossing folder, and I'm going to ink up the top side of it with some Spiced Marmalade Distress Oxide, just going in a circular motion. I'm going to place that cardstock in there and then carefully put the top down and make sure the paper doesn't shift, run it through my Cuttlebug, and that is going to emboss that orange color on top of the yellow. Now, not everything transferred, so I'm using my brayer just to put a little extra pressure, and you'll notice when I open it up that I accidentally got some of the orange where I didn't want it, but I'll fix that in a minute. This is going to be a more grungy looking panel, so I'm not too worried about it. I took some picked raspberry Distress Oxide and went around the edges, again, just to make it a little bit more grungy. We are also going to use these exact same colors of Distress Oxide in the other one, the panel that we do with stencils. So I wanted to use the same colors and I added another color into that one. So I just thought I would add the pink to this one. And I'm going back in with the Fossilized Amber and Squeezed Lemonade to just add a little bit of that yellow back in. So I'm going to put that aside to dry, and while I'm drying that, I am going to be working on the stenciled panel. So I'm taking the same size piece of cardstock, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm using some washi tape to block off the top portion of the panel. That's where I'm going to be using that same Squeezed Lemonade Distress Oxide with the same blending brush to add the Squeezed Lemonade to the top. That's going to be our base layer. And I blocked off the bottom because we're going to add a little bit of water to this one. Not water, physical water, we're actually going to kind of make it look like the ocean. You'll see in a minute. Next, I'm going to be using a 3-piece stencil from Bee Stamps. It's called the Sunburst Background, set of 3 stencils. And I'm taking the one with I believe this is the one with the least amount of openings. And I'm going to work backwards. Now, I'm not sure that this is the way I should have done it. You guys are going to have to let me know in the comments if you think that I did a good job with this or if you think I should have done this differently, because I'm not really sure. I'm thinking I might use the next time colors that are a little bit more similar. So we did the Squeezed Lemonade in the background. This is the Fossilized Amber. I used Spiced Marmalade and then the picked raspberry. And I'm not really sure that I love the way this came out. In the end, I kind of went back over and worked the colors, which you'll see in a minute. And I think it turns out okay, but it's not my favorite. So while you're just watching me use the stencils over the next minute or so, I'm going to talk a little bit about the hop. So the theme for this hop, if you guys haven't guessed, is sunshine. And the techniques that we're doing for this month are embossing folders and or stencils. So I decided to use an embossing folder and stencils and show you guys how you can get 2 very similar looks. Now, I didn't have to do the water at the bottom of this. I could have done a full sunshine, starburst, sunburst, whatever you want to call it, panel, and it would have been very similar to the embossed one. But I just thought we'd change this one up and add a little bit of water to it. So the group that is putting this together is from the Handmade Happiness Facebook group, which was started by Courtney Kreber, and it's a bunch of amazingly talented crafters who range in different mediums, and I think that you guys will learn a lot from these very talented women. I don't think we have any men. I think that it's all women. So I apologize if there are men that are on this hop, but I do believe it's all females on this hop. But please make sure that you check out the description box below. I will definitely have the next person's in the hop lineup, their video listed below. I will try to have the entire hop lineup on there. Just in case you get lost, you can come back and see where you left off, or if a link's broken or something like that. So anyway, I'm just going back in with the colors. This one's Fossilized Amber, and just working it back and forth just almost like I would when you would go through and blend a panel together. You go back and forth from lightest to darkest just to get those to blend a little bit better. So once I'm sort of happy with it, I am going to I'm going to flip it around. I'm going to take the washi tape off, put the washi tape on the other side, and then we're going to work on the water. So there you see me taping off the top portion of it. If you don't want to get that harsh line where your colors meet, make sure that you place your washi tape down a little bit further than you think you need to, just so some of that top color is showing, and the colors should line up very well, and you won't get that harsh white line. So I'm using some Distress Oxide in Salty Ocean and Mermaid Lagoon to create the water. I'm going back and forth with my brushes, and now I think that I have both of those colors on both of those brushes because they look very, very similar. So it's probably a combination on both of the brushes of that color. So I've created a third color of Distress Oxide, I think. I'm just going back and forth and smoothing those out, and I shouldn't have, this is where I mess up. I got blue ink where I didn't want it. And I shouldn't have even taken the washi tape off because I actually need to keep that on, as you see here, because I'm going to put a little water reflection on there. This is from an Ocean Builders stencil set from Honeybee. It's a set, I believe, of 4 stencils. And I'm using some Hero Arts white reactive ink to add that shadow on there. Now the reason that I put it on my mat is so that if I get any on the blending tool, I don't dip it back into the ink pad. It's a lot easier to wipe off my surface and the dauber than it is to wipe off the ink pad. I'm going to be taking off the washi tape, and then we're going to be covering up that blue spot that I made that big mistake on. We're going to be using the stamp set Wish You Were Here from Honeybee Stamps to stamp out a huge greeting over that. I'm going to be using the same color of Distress Oxide, which is Mermaid Lagoon, and stamping that down a couple times, trying not to press too hard because Distress Oxide isn't really a stamping ink and you don't want to press too hard. It's better to do a couple of light layers than one really heavy one. We're going to be using that same stamp set and Versamark Onyx Black ink, VersaFine Onyx Black ink to stamp out the Aloha sentiment. Same thing with this. I find this ink can smudge a little bit, so be very cautious with it. Now we're going to put ATG on the back of them and pop them onto A2 size card bases. I did cut them down a little bit, as you can see, just so you could have a little bit of black border. And those are our cards for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that you hop along with us. I hope that you find some great new artists to follow and who will inspire you to create some amazing projects. I can't wait to see what everyone has done. So thank you guys so much for watching. Here are some still pictures. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe and leave a comment down below. I love to hear what you guys have to say, and I'll see you again real soon for another video.